If you are a Detroit Lions fan, you have probably heard that Myles Garrett is on the trading block, that he wants to be traded, he wants to compete for championships. You've probably heard rumors about, goodness, Max Crosby. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank there. Probably heard some rumors about Max Crosby and what possibilities are out there. Pete Carroll just got hired as the Raiders head coach, and he had mentioned to Max Crosby, who I think was there at the press conference of long story short, and kind of paraphrasing, hey, we're going for it, we're gonna try to win, so on and so forth. So potentially Max Crosby may not be on the trading block, but Myles Garrett definitely is. He, during the Super Bowl media week had mentioned that, he wanted to be traded, he wanted to play for a Super Bowl and compete for championships. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think he's, well within his rights. He's played a decent amount there with the Browns. Um, and I think for Lions fans, we are thinking about the possibility of what Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett, and potentially Zadarius Smith could be on a defensive line. I mean, you look at the Eagles, who those three guys that I mentioned are different than the Eagles, D line, their kind of makeup, but essentially just a very talented D line. Uh, there's just the possibilities are endless, and Myles Garrett is a terrific football player, and Aiden Hutchinson is as well. He was on a tear before he had his injury that he missed most of the season. But if Brad Holmes has taught us anything and showed us anything, is that this is not the type of deal that Brad Holmes makes or has a history of making since he's been here with the Lions. I would love him to. I would, to me, I would be comfortable with two number one. So first this year, which will be what in a couple months, end of April, and next year's first round draft pick. I think our team is going to be pretty good. So those picks are going to be, mid to late 20s. And although that is still a very valuable pick, Myles Garrett is going to be better than whatever we could potentially get there. And I would be willing to do it. I did not see what his current contract is, so I want to look up that real quick. Myles Garrett contract, because I think he's getting towards the end of that deal, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. So he's got for 2025 cap hit of 19 million. And for next year, cap hit of 20 million, which actually isn't that bad. So in 2027, there's a voidable year, it looks like, uh, which it would be 37 million would be that cap hit. So you probably want to get that deal restructured, but man, that could be really really nice. I would do it. There's just I just think with the Lions, we are, in my mind, pretty close. I mean, we had won 15 games this past season. Obviously, lost the first playoff game that we had, and then the previous year, we were in the NFC Championship game with a 17-point lead. So we are close, or I think we're close, and that's the type of guy that will put you over the top. Ideally, it's different. It'd be different if the Browns were just looking to move off of him, because you always have to ask yourself, why is a team looking to move off of a talented player? What's going on? Whether it's just, do they see the downside? Is something going on? So on and so forth. But this isn't that. This is the player wants to be traded, and I'm sure Cleveland is trying to get whatever they possibly can with him, and as they should. I mean, that's just good business. But I I think Brad Holmes has done a terrific job as the GM of the Lions. That needs to be said. What I also think is that while I think his drafting has been A plus, I think his free agency acquisitions have been B minus, probably B plus. I in my mind wanted to grade him a little bit lower than that, but he has had some really good additions to our team. Like David Montgomery has been a terrific addition. Carlton Davis, this previous season, terrific. Amik Robinson, terrific addition. So he has had some really good additions to the team and with in the free agency market. But it's been more so kind of mid-level guys, which is okay. Like and I don't want to offend those guys of saying like mid-level because Carlton Davis was terrific. Meek Robinson was terrific, but it's not necessarily like the big names and just going for the big swings. And you have to do that sometimes. And I think it's something that the Lions could really put themselves in a different position if they were to get Myles Garrett. He's super talented. I mean, there's just no way around it. Jordan Love, I'm sure would not love that. I'm sure Caleb Williams wouldn't love that. Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, whoever, is going to be their starting quarterback. I'm sure they would hate to see that. And sometimes gauging a decision, you should look at the teams that you're competing with. Would they love the fact that you got that player? I'm sure those guys would hate that. I'm sure they all would. So not that that's the only criteria as far as making a decision, but that should be one of them at least. So I would love to see the Lions make that move, but if I'm being realistic with what Brad Holmes' history is, it's not happening. It's just not going to happen, and breaks my heart, but just kind of is what it is. So I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Just that's Brad. That's just how he operates, and he's also done a terrific job. So I want to make that clear as well. But this would be something would love to see him, make that big swing, get that deal done, and get Myles Garrett in Honolulu Blue. So that is it for me. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate it. Peace.